Now then, for part two of this acrylic inks, the musicians in the street, or the street musicians, I wasn't quite happy with it, and it's experimental. I can see the potential and possibilities of it, but it's gone a bit dead. I hoped that the acrylic inks would remain a bit lighter and more lively. Some people would accept it as it is, I suppose, but you know, if we're not happy with something, we might as well carry on exploring. It could turn out to be a total mess in the end, but I want to take it one step further and explore further. So although I could leave it as it is, I'm going to now work into it with oils. I want to use oils rather than acrylics, because we can paint oils over acrylics. We can't do it the other way around, of course. And the oils are much more opaque, they're much heavier, they're much more impasto than the acrylics, and I can get much more vibrant colour. So I'm going to take this a little bit further, use my filbert brushes, and again at speed, just show you how this painting will develop into another stage. Maybe it'll be successful, maybe it won't. The point is to experiment, to explore, to find out, and unless we do that, we're never going to learn new things, are we? So I have to take chances just the same as you. Another point I'm going to make here is that one of my students once said to me that she expected to come to me for lessons and everything would turn out fantastically, everything would be perfect, every single painting would be successful. I said, well, I can't even do that for myself. It's not possible. I mean, the point of art is that you're going to explore, you're going to experiment, and not everything is going to be absolutely perfect. Or just boring. I mean, if you turn up the same painting in the same way every time, yes, we could do the same method and technique, we could just copy it like a photograph, and it would always come out well, it would always be commercially successful. But if we want to really explore and go further, we have to take risks, like an adventure. And any adventure is a risk, because otherwise there's no point in an adventure, it's not an adventure. So to move forward, we have to take risks, and not every one of our paintings is going to succeed. Just occasionally, although we can usually bring something through or transfer it into another way or try different mediums, just occasionally something is just not going to work, forget it, you're going to have to dump it. But only very occasionally, usually we can work through things. As with a watercolour which is overworked, we can work pastel over it and so on. So with this one, I want to take it just a little bit further, a little bit more vibrant, and have a bit more fun, and maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. We shall see, but at least I will have learnt by doing it. And we're all always learning, or we should be. We should always be learning new things. The old saying I have is, the more we know, the more we realise we don't know. In other words, the more we learn, the more we see that we didn't know beforehand, and the more we're finding out, so we realise there must be more. This is why I like to watch other people demonstrating and things as well, because there's always something new to find out. Okay, we'll use a very simple palette of colour. I'll just show you here. Colours that I'm going to need from the photograph, not a full palette in this case. Now back to the painting. I'm going to use mainly filberts on this. I'll probably only need a very small one at first, 1/4 inch should do me. A little bit of terps on my brush to start off with. Don't need a lot. And I want to sort of slab this colour on a bit more and find these nice bright clean oil paints. So I really want to work into these colours a bit more. In the same loose style, exactly the same way really, but just putting some cleaner, brighter colour over the top. So we've got the beauty of the wet in wet underneath, and then these lighter strokes of impasto oil paint going on top here. So I'm using no terps at all now in my paint, just having got the brush working, just slabbing on this paint. We could even use a knife if we wanted, but not going to for this, just going to work up this colour. I'll start with some cadmium red and orange now. Yeah, I'm going to bring some burnt sienna back into this later as well. Really lather it on, enjoy it. It's really vibrant. So as I say, we can paint oils over acrylics, but we can't do it the other way around, or we shouldn't, because it's liable to lift off and crack off later. It is easier now for painting some of these highlights as well. Add a bit of white to that, see what happens. Got our cadmium orange, cadmium red, and now a bit of white to make a much lighter colour for the background there. I'm going to mix some burnt sienna with the orange, which will give me a slightly cooler orange and white. It's a nice colour for bits here. A bit more white still. I'll start to find some of these colours of the flesh a bit better perhaps. Keeping it loose, nice loose painting. Now starting to add some more yellow into it. So blobs and blocks really, just get an impression of it. But keeping the paint nice and heavy and opaque. I'm going to bring up these cool colours in a minute again as well. We sort of lost a bit because they're sunk. We just like this jigsaw method I was saying, we just paint the right sort of colours in the right places. Just bring these shapes up. This use of heavy and opaque paint now to really build up these layers as I would like. I'll try and get this feeling of colour. I'm going to start to play these yellows in to the bricks as well. Really start to enjoy. So this is what this was about, really, was about these beautiful colours and the artificial light. And hopefully things are livening up. Take some burnt sienna and these warms a little bit more down here maybe. Really look for these colours, pure colours. Now, let's go back up to the top here. I want to play with these colours a bit more. So, a bit of pure cerulean in there, just here for instance. Just start to play with these cools a bit. Because I want these cools to play against the warmth that they've already got. This is cerulean I'm using at the moment. A bit more with some white. See if we can find this trumpet a bit better. I'll take some cobalt, pure cobalt. Let's work that in. Get some lovely cools, exaggerate the cools down into here, like the shadows. I really want these warms to sing, and this is going to help just that. Take some ultramarine, a really lovely deep rich blue, and we'll really start to feel that in the round places here. So a lovely deep rich ultramarine. Bring out these shadows. Let's experiment and explore. Nothing to lose, so I wasn't happy with it before, so it has potential and I could use the technique and I know a bit more about it at the right time, I'm sure. Now I'm going to go right down into some Prussian blue, which is really dark, almost to black. Start to feel some of these shadows back here, which are really dark shadows. So we've been through our cobalt, our cerulean, our ultramarine, and now down to the Prussian, which is really dark. Just indicating the background. So I'm using the tip of my brush all the time, hardly ever painting in great detail at the moment. It's just to find space and abstract out these shapes. Now let's try and put purple into that. A little bit warmer. I want to try some turquoise back here as well. I've got a rather nice turquoise as I had with the inks. I'm just trying out a new one in oil paints. It's rather lovely. Put some white with that. See what colour we get then. So we get what we want. Yep. So that's certainly livened things up a bit, hasn't it? And I think the greens need to be livened up in the background a bit as well, so I'm going to take a little bit of lemon yellow, a bit of that turquoise first, add that to it, nice pure yellow greens to add in down here. I suspect that green is going to come in elsewhere, for instance in the trumpet here. Green being the opposite in the circle to red, it's quite a useful colour to watch out for in here because it will make the red sing a bit more. Go back to the orange, nice chunks of pure orange, and we'll get that strap coming right through there, dragging the paint through and mixing it as it goes along just a little bit. And the yellow, chrome yellow, it's curling over here, and finally into the red. I do need to slab this colour in places. And this area seems to be nice and lively. It's not quite compositionally working here, so I've got to figure out why. Maybe I need a bit more of the highlights. Let's try and get a bit more of these yellows highlighting here. Let's look at these lights again. A little bit of lemon yellow in to just give it a bit more lift. Well, there we are with the completion of this work. I think as far as I want to go with it, it's nice and bright and lively. The acrylic inks worked alright, but I think the oils just bring it out that bit more. We've got this nice wet into wet background and then the slab-like lovely gel quality of the oils on top. Keeping it fresh, keeping it loose, keeping it impressionist.